let me tell you about a great year in movie history. 1948. Obviously, in that year we had films by Hitchcock, Wells, Capra, Cocteau, Kurosawa, Ford, Wilder, Hawks, Huston, Hawks, Wilder, Ford, Olivier, Visconti, Ophuls, Minelli, Mizoguchi, De Sica and Powell and Pressburger. And still, I say the best director of that year was John Farrow. Who the hell is John Farrow? Good question. He's not in the 1300 pages of the International Dictionary of Directors. He's not even in Andrew Sarri's The American Cinema. How is that even possible? Everyone's in it. He's even got a chapter for directors who only made one movie. In any case, John Farrow was this journeyman director who made films in every genre. War pictures, films noir, westerns. He's the one who directed this famous scene.
I can't swim.
How old are you?
6.
In 48 he made his best movie, The Big Clock. It's considered a film noir, but it's not. It's just not. It's a fine thriller, and it's the best achievement in directing in a year already crowded in quality. It's got everything I'm crazy about in film direction. Wide long takes? Check. Hyperactive blocking? Check. Packed ensemble compositions? Check. Invisible camera motions? Check. Every element and prop in the proper spot? Check. Frames filled in every inch and layer? Checkmate. If those weren't enough, it's got one of the most airtight plots a thriller ever boasted. This video's a directing analysis, and you probably haven't watched the film, so I'll give no spoilers. Here's a quick synopsis.
Very well, very, very well.
Ray Milland is George, editor of a crime magazine ruled by media magnate Janoth, played by Charles Laughton.
On the 4th floor in the broom closet, a bulb has been burning for several days. Find the man responsible, dock his pay.
The mogul impulsively kills his mistress, then pins the blame on an unknown man he saw leaving her apartment. He orders George to lead a manhunt to find the mystery man, who just happens to be George himself. Now he must mislead the search as much as possible while carrying out his own secret investigation to prove his boss is the killer. And if you're looking for a flawless screenplay, this is it. The dialogue is entertaining.
I see a stranger coming into your life. A woman of mystery.
Does she know I'm married?
Every piece falls into place like a Swiss army knife. The protagonist has romantic stakes.
If you leave now, I'll never speak to you again.
The villain ups the ante by telling his bodyguard, who doubles as a cheery masseur, to kill the man they're looking for once he's found. And soon enough, no one's allowed to leave the building.
What with the janitors and elevator operators, we have 50 men stationed, Mr. Strout. If the man gets out, it'll be a miracle.
Certainly will.
And it's only 95 minutes long. John Farrow's perfectly composed long takes make the visuals as efficient as the script. Just take a look at the opening shots. Pan across the city till we find Janoth Publications, where most of the story will take place. We push in to enter the building, as well as 40's technology could allow us to, and meet our chased protagonist. We follow him into a room, up the stairs, we check the chasers down there, and the camera leaves him for a flashback dissolve. The new shot pretends to be a continuation of everything we've seen by now. The camera scans the Ayn Rand-style lobby, meets George in better times and follows him to the elevator. Try and imagine how this opening would look today, with more seamless editing merging the 3 takes into one flamboyant tracking shot. Tell me if that wouldn't be something straight out of Brian De Palma. But in The Big Clock, the long take is not an occasional flourish. It's the predominant visual language. Private moments do warrant brief shot-counter-shot exchanges.
Blacklisted. For life. Never to work on a magazine again.
Oh, George, how wonderful.
When there's a close-up, it's only cause shit's about to go down. As for the rest of the time, here's the type of shot we get instead.
It's too good to be true.
It's George's office, with the front door visible. Of course it's to be used. Janoth enters. George shows him the clue assembly board that will, of course, be used against him when the plot thickens. We follow them to the room. They sit on the couch and table. Janoth is trying to get on George's good side, so he takes himself to a chummier place. The camera approaching to a tighter angle. He thinks he won and walks away with the camera. George stops them both and approaches. No more Mr. Nice Guy for Janoth. He sits on the chair to threaten to fire and blacklist George.
We'll never work on another magazine or on any other publication.
It's still okay.
He stands back up and takes the camera with him to the initial angle. We cap off by following George to the phone. In case you were wondering, Laughton sits in 3 different spots. Every beat of the scene can be understood through the actors, with the camera playing along by following and approaching.
I'll give you 6 minutes to reconsider.
I don't need them. I don't need 6 seconds.
Here's another one. A wide shot of Janoth's modernist room with his mistress, York, checking possible blackmail material. While he enters in the background, we approach a bit. She brings the camera to a medium shot beside him,
Seemed impregnable till I thought of your private elevator.
How did you get past the guard?
then returns to her previous position. He follows. He checks what she's sticking her nose in and turns his back. She crosses over, then to the other side of the table.
Get me the name of the guard in my private elevator.
Dismissing her, he takes her purse and guides the camera to the front door, conceitedly confident she'll tag along. She does so. Bye-bye. In one single take we have an establishing shot and their complete menace-heavy tryst presented in 7 distinct positions of their bodies around the set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And step by step they fluidly lead the story from the back of the room to the exit on the left. By the way, we follow him back to his table.
What are you doing here?
Just tidying up Dallas.
Watch how Janoth joins a business meeting. Detail on the clock. We pull back to catch the big cheese going around the table.
I resent this deeply.
He heads for the water, which a man from the table promptly pours. Mind you, this is a meeting between department heads. This guy is most definitely editor-in-chief of one of Janoth's many magazines. He might make some $30,1948 a year. And here he is thanklessly pouring water for his boss like a mistreated intern. Janoth carries his aplomb full circle back to his chair, and when he's done with his glass, he simply raises his arm knowing anyone, will pick it up, as they damn well should. Not only does this modest take reveal the tyrannical mechanics of Janoth Publications, it also reveals the minutious staging of John Farrow.
Dynamic angles. We live in a dynamic age, gentlemen, with dynamic competitors.
Every object and actor happens to be in the right position. The water happens to be at the end of the table, allowing Janoth to make a full round. In this angle, this man standing up in the background happens to be visible.
Where is George Strout?
I've always tried to find him.
I do not propose to be held up, not even by Mr. Strout.
In the final angle, the first editor to speak happens to be in the foreground.
I suggest that,
Everyone who's anyone is in the frame. Even the door that will be used immediately after the cut.
for the best letters from subscribers,
These are all ideal specimens of visual convenience. If everything and everyone are well located, there's no need to cut and no need for pyrotechnics with the camera. A simple pullback can reveal an important prop. And another. If a phone is gonna be used,
Hello.
why not keep it in the frame right from the start of the scene? Well, it's almost like a director should know everything that's gonna happen, right?
Have you some inside knowledge of this matter?
Here's George hoping his diligent journalists don't find the clues that will lead to him. The visible phone in the background rings and the visible worker answers. They got a new clue. They know the mystery man's hat has a feather. We cut back to the office, this time with George's incriminatingly feathered hat visible.
Guess I better put that on the board, huh? Yeah.
He shields it, then takes it to the bin. Don't forget the dangerous black board in the background. All the clues lead to George, though none of his employees suspect him. But perhaps Janoth's creepy masseur does. What a narrative weapon is deep focus. Or should I say, was deep focus. This shot already uses the sides and poles of the frame, but the layers add an extra, well, layer. Here's a nice little something. Later on, there's a neat payoff with the feathered hat with this line.
We wanted to trap Randolph ourselves, then hand him over, feather in our caps.
Just a screenwriter having fun by crossing his T's.
Feather in our caps.
Yeah.
With one pristinely composed long take after the other, the film flows.
I've been planning to kill you for years. Drop those cherubs and I'll break both your arms straight ahead.
Here's an ensemble. The phone rings with important information, so the big players and the camera gather close to the one who answered. The caller is actually getting fooled by two pranksters, framed with him of course. Cut back. Notice how the new angle is just a wee bit different from the previous one. Why? Real question, Compare this frame to this frame and tell me what's different and why. I'll let you think it over. And while we are thinking, how about liking and subscribing? It will help you get more videos like this one. You can also join me on Patreon. I don't bite. That's enough thinking for today. Here's the answer. The new angle includes this doorway, blocked by Janoth. After his favorite phrase, he leaves to reveal it.
Edwin says this
I heard.
man...
Anybody know a man with a glass eye?
What's that idiot's name?
Edwin Orlin.
Fire him.
Guess where George is headed now. Beautiful staging and framing. Nothing and no one could be in a different spot. Elements in the frame telegraph what will happen next.
Nothing is impossible.
It's like the story tells itself, all because a profoundly inspired director has everything under control.
Check with George Strout at Crime Waves magazine.
Oh, sorry.
Taking all this visual sophistication and the great screenplay, trust me, it's great.
I'm listening, Cora.
Here's a surprise question. How in the world isn't this film a classic? I believe it's because the director's name is John Farrow. A quote-unquote nobody. It's a remarkable achievement in an unremarkable career. That's the virus of auteur theory. The elevation of careers to the detriment of individual films. Imagine the same movie, the exact same movie, but in the director's credit the name is Alfred Hitchcock. Completely plausible. He was in his long take phase, right next to Rope and Under Capricorn. He had worked with Laughton the previous year in The Parodin Case, and would work with Milland in Dial M for Murder.
Oh, that's extremely good of you.
With Hitchcock's name, The Big Clock would be seen as a masterpiece of suspense. Further proof of his authorial genius. People would praise the pacing, plot, visuals, dialogue, and it would fit the broader narrative of the director who makes movies about the wrongly accused man. Being in the hired gun run of Farrow, it's just a one-off trick to be ignored, instead of a chapter in a long career of a true auteur. Obviously, I'm not underrating Hitchcock. I'm defending that a movie should be judged by itself, and not as part of a career. Sticking to auteurism, as modern film history does, only hurts great orphans like The Big Clock.
So, Miss York, where are the green clocks of yesteryear?
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Andrew Saris. But that's a story for another day. Thank you for watching.